Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Friday. Welcome to this week's version of Alpha Leaks. So we've got a few updates to give you guys this week, and we also have some guest speakers that will be joining us just after I finish my updates. So I'll be going through the updates maybe slightly faster than usual so that we have as much time as possible, to talk about projects that's been working very closely with us in the Aurora ecosystem over the past year. But of course, to start off with the updates, the big announcement from us this week, of course, is the Near Intents widget is now live. So for those of you who tune in each week, you'll know that we've been speaking about this for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Armand gave a bit more of a deep dive. I had a product last week, but it is now live and it is available for anybody to play with and for anybody to start using and applying to their projects. We also had our very own Chris. He actually gave some interesting insights on the Near Intents widget on this week's Near Town Hall. If you didn't see it or you missed it, please do check out our post where he goes into a lot more detail about some of the thinking behind the way we structured it and what it's going to be looking like going forwards from a technical perspective. Now, on top of that, we of course have the standard Aurora token burn update. So in line with the economics that we've got, we burned 4,075 Aurora tokens throughout January. Now, this has been a busy week. So not only did we have Chris, who's talking about the swap widget in the Near Intents Town Hall, but we also had one of our senior engineers, Evgeny, who actually went on an ETH-proof call and started to do a deep dive on both the Aurora EVM and ZK EVM, and that took place this week. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, please do. I'll warn you now, though, it was a technical talk to, I believe, 150 plus engineers. But in it, we went over Aurora's proven EVM Rust base, along with the MIT licensing, the code that we've built since 2021 that currently secures over $10 million of liquid funds, along with some of the compliance pieces that we do, including, of course, ensuring that Aurora EVM is always up to date with the latest forks from Ethereum. So if you're an engineer or technical, please check it out. You may have seen an article that went live this week on Forbes, which is basically talking about DeFi's transition from an apps base to a system base. I actually took part with this article and gave my opinion of it. The article is an interesting read if you want to understand some of the evolution that we've been seeing across the landscape. From my perspective, just to summarize it, I was talking about, for me, one of the most important aspects of this transition, and that is shared liquidity. We've seen over the past few years, really, just how challenging fragmentation can be for projects. And that's not just in our ecosystem or the Near ecosystem, but it's everywhere. And by moving from, to this systems-based approach, what we're also starting to see is these integrated systems that can share liquidity, that can bundle in core services, meaning that users can basically find everything they need in one place. And of course, Near Intents, absolutely kind of follows this mantra, by making cross-chain swaps more seamless than ever. Outside of that, just some news on the wider ecosystem. So Near AI have just launched the agent market. Definitely recommend checking this out. You can now ask your agent to post tasks. You can have other agents that are going to bid and execute. Agents are paid in Near. It's essentially bringing the first agentic commerce onto the Near ecosystem itself. They actually supplemented that with an additional update, which of course is OpenClaw. So if you haven't heard what OpenClaw is and what it's about, then I'd say that you've not been keeping a close eye on social media over the past week. In fact, I know a few people, Alex, of course, being one of them, that's been working quite heavily on developing his own Claude bot as well. But essentially what we've now got is OpenClaw, which is a combination of, the Near Intents universal trading layer with this always on AI. And it'll essentially allow you to create your own fully autonomous agents. And in this post, they talk about kind of finance, but actually, if you take a step back and look at some of the wider applications, and again, I use Alex as a great referencing point, these new bots are going to streamline everything that we do, even just from a working perspective, right? You've got something that will summarize your emails. At the same time, it will analyze the code in real time for product features that you're updating. They will even submit bug fixes and recommended changes. And of course, in the case of OpenClaw, it's going to be able to leverage the full power of Near Intents. So if you haven't heard of it or you want to find out more, please do check it out. Now, for this week's, actually, before we go into this week's meme clash of memes, there is a post that I spotted from Alex, and I just thought it's only fair that we do this all publicly where he can see it. But who is Alex S in the NEAR ecosystem? So please do post your comments as to who you think it is. I'm going to vote for Alex Kidanov, which I'm sure if Shevchenko is watching, he will not love me for. Looks like Skidanov is winning at the moment, but if you haven't voted, please do. Now, in terms of our clash of memes, I'm not going to go through them all this week. What I've done instead is just pick the top 3, and that's because I want to put as much time as possible for our guest speakers. So, Zane, congratulations. You are the first winner. I think everybody's seen this meme before. Second winner, Rachel, congratulations. The Jurassic Park reference is something that is always going to win in my book. And the final winner, we have YHK. I actually used to see this meme used more than anything else to describe Teslas, especially in the UK when we had the petrol crisis, where everybody was filling up their tanks way ahead of time. But yeah, so they are our 3 winners for this week. Congratulations. Now, the final update is going to be leading us straight into our guest speakers. So we have an announcement from Optima that have launched their active portfolios. You're going to be able to start seeing them and using them directly on Aurora and NEAR protocol. And rather than me describing what it is, I'm going to be happy to introduce the CEO of Optima and the CTO, where we have Delia and Michael, who will be joining us to talk more about this. So bear with me one moment and we will introduce them and bring them on board. So hello, Delia. Hello, Michael. Welcome. I told everybody a couple of weeks back that we were going to be changing the format of Alpha slightly to bring on guest speakers so that we could actually hear about some of the projects within the ecosystem, what they're doing and how it's working. So it'd be great for you guys to introduce yourselves. I think it's an interesting time to have you on, right? I'm pretty sure everybody's been watching the state of the market over the past, well, even over the past day, but over the past week or two, certainly. So I think there couldn't be a better time really to introduce you guys, because actually your project isn't really affected, is it, in relation to kind of the ups and actually downs that we're seeing in the market at the moment. So Delia, I'll let you give an introduction and kick us off.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Thanks for having us. Glad to be back here. I think I was here like a few months ago during the incubator and our demo day. So thanks for having us back. So yeah, excited with Optima. So just kind of give one sentence of what Optima is, and then I can let Mikhail kind of introduce himself. So Optima is a tokenized asset manager. So what we do, just kind of simpler words, we take the sophisticated kind of investment strategies and we make them accessible to everyone. And I think this is kind of the most exciting time actually to do this, because hedge funds has been doing this for years. So now actually we can democratize access to those strategies and allow anyone globally, retail included, to actually to access those professionally managed strategies. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what Optima does.
Brilliant. And who is Optima aimed for, right? Who is your perfect user, and what problem are you solving for them?
So the main user actually are retail investors. So to get access to those professionally managed strategies, you need to have at least minimum 100K down like investment, going all the way to millions, or you have to call your private banker. So now you can actually come to Optima and buy a token that represents an actively managed portfolio, and you don't have to worry about it. There are no minimums. You can actually come and invest with $100 or USDC. There are no lockups. There is always liquidity. You can come and redeem that token on Optima app. And you can actually take it with you in your wallet as self-custodian if you really want actually to leverage against your position directly on any lending protocols or sell it peer-to-peer on the DEXs. So yeah, so the main users are retails, but we are also open to institutional investors. So anyone from the big guys to the small guys, they can all have access to the same strategies.
Brilliant. Go on, Michael.
I just wanted to mention that we already have professional hedge funds that gave us some funds to manage, which we've been doing since October. But honestly, like I built Optima for myself. Like I'm a lousy trader. Like I always bought too late and and I sold too late. And I built it because I don't think the thrill of waking up in the middle of the night and looking at charts and then rushing to your exchange account is anything that I wanted to live on a day-to-day basis, being in crypto. So I literally built it for myself because like I knew how well Delia was able to manage funds working for a crypto hedge funds before, and I knew what value brings data-driven quant investing to crypto. So we just took the best practices of institutional grade strategies that are data-driven, and we built a product around it so that every user can do it. I'm using it for my own money, and I slept very well for the past week. And I honestly, I'm honestly sorry for all the people that lost 15, 30% of their allocation over the past 24 hours. Is absolutely crazy, but I mean, this just proves the value of the product. Like our strategy state of the market for the past week or so hasn't been affected. And the moment the strategy is going to detect the upward trend in the market, it's going to allocate more and more into underlying assets, and we're going to enjoy the uptrend.
Can you walk us through, because obviously a lot of people have seen not only the crash in our space, but gold has crashed 20%, silver crashed 25% yesterday, right? Why is it that your strategies are not being impacted, by the sudden swings that we're seeing in the market?
I wouldn't say that it's not impacted. I mean, what we try to do is really manage the risk and the downside really well. So it's all data driven. So we look at all the type of indicators, market indicators. We look at the volatility. We look at the momentum trends. We look at the on-chain data. All this comes real time. So we compute all our kind of signals and triggers, and then we decide, should we kind of reduce the risk or should we just increase the risk? We are not leveraged. So none of those strategies are actually leveraged. So right now what we are launching is literally long only, but with a risk reduction. So every time we feel like the market becomes very, very risky, we definitely will reduce our allocation and we go into the stable coins. So it's mostly about risk management that we are really good at. We really cut the drawdown close to 10% or 12% or 15% maximum in some of the kind of more volatile tokens. But the market, the underlying buy and hold token, the drawdown is 40% or 50%. So we definitely reduce the risk considerable. And it's all monitoring real time. So we trade real time. So it's all rule based. So it's no gut feeling. It's no human interventions. It's all about the rules that we set, and they get traded automatically, rebalance automatically. Investor doesn't have to worry about this. We take everything on. They're just holding that tokenized portfolio token, and that's it. We do all the work for them.
Okay, brilliant. And obviously you've talked about kind of mitigating risk. What are the kind of risk signals that matter most, right? Especially in a week like we've seen this week.
I think in a week, I mean, the past week or the past few days is the volatility. I mean, literally is the orders, is the technical indicators and the volatility. This is what drove the last few days' performance. We look at all the other indicators. It's not only like this, but what really drove the decision to get out of the market and literally be in the stable coins over the last few days was literally the volatility and the technical indicators.
Okay. And obviously, we've been working closely with you guys now for almost probably the better part of a year, right? Perhaps you could kind of walk everybody through, what was your kind of reasoning around building on Aurora? Have we solved any kind of problems for you?
Right. So the most interesting thing for building on Aurora is the ability to have blockchain on the cloud. So have the Web 2 experience with all the complexity abstracted away, and have the best of blockchain, which is being able to have a immutable ledger. And one of the use cases for us is it's on our roadmap. It's not live yet, but we're gonna start publishing live price feeds onto our own chain based on our own strategy performance. And we're going to do it for two reasons. Number one, we want to prove to people that our strategies actually work, and you can look in retrospect and see the performance. And it's impossible for us to tamper with any of the past performance data to make it better or smooth it out or whatever. It is what it is. And the second thing, I'm going to kind of circle back to what you mentioned about OpenClaw. Like we know that agentic future is the future. And I want to create an environment where OpenClaw-like agents can interact with Optima directly. So on our roadmap, we have an MCP server for those agents, but we also need to give them data in a permissionless fashion. Right? And reading of a chain on a chain that is already linked into a very good ecosystem in terms of liquidity, and is number one ecosystem for AI. For us, it was a no-brainer. And Declan, of course, it was you as well. You working with you, and the opportunity to get on podcasts like this, that was also very important high on our list.
I'll pay you later. Well, no, look, I mean, it's great, right? Because we speak to so many projects, and like so many people that we speak to have so many good ideas, right? But having an idea and executing an idea are two very, very different things, right? And obviously we know from many of the conversations that we've had, some of the challenges that we've faced along the way, but obviously you've got the product live now. Did you want to kind of show us the product and then walk us through how it actually works? Because I think obviously we've talked a lot about strategies and risks, but for those people listening who haven't actually seen this before, I think it'd be quite good for them to be able to actually visualize the service that you're offering.
Right. Okay. So this is the website. After you log into the app, you have access to the portfolio page where you can see the performance of all our portfolios over there. And this is the last 24 hours. And this is what I mentioned, like all our active strategy just stayed in stablecoin, state of the market. And you can see that, the passive strategies that just follow a portfolio of specific sector of the market, then they all have been affected. If we look at 6 months performance, now you see, how our strategies work. And, interesting, again, this is, near outperforms everything. It's, we didn't do it on purpose. It's just, the strategy performs really, really well on this asset, almost 50% return over the last 6 months. And then when you have your account, you go to trade, you select which portfolio would you like to buy. You select whatever is the amount you want to purchase, and you just buy it. And that's it. You just invested. This is how it works. And the cool thing about that, if you're gonna go to your wallet page, you can withdraw, and you can withdraw your strategy to Optima virtual chain that is live on you right now.
And I don't know if you know, but we've obviously just released a widget that could work quite nicely as well for people being able to swap any tokens that they like.
That's definitely on our roadmap. It's funny. You probably appreciate. This is enterprise grade software, and the amount of stuff that has to happen on the backside, because before I show you a simple trade transaction I underestimated it, right? Like I was way too optimistic about the roadmap, But now, like I say, we have the platform, we have the back end of this. We are definitely going to integrate into Intents more and more. And the goal for us is to enable people buying those tokens directly off Intents. So we're going to have a supply of those tokens sitting on our virtual chain. And then we're going to have our own solver that's going to plug into Intents. And then in real time, we're going to get the live quote and we'll be able to buy and sell without worrying, do I have the right token on the right chain? It's, just I want to invest, buy, and or if somebody wants to redeem, same thing, right? Because one of the things that I really like about what we're doing is there are no lockups. It works 24/7. If you want to bring your assets, your portfolio strategies back to Optima, sell them, get your stable coins out, and then again use Intents to do whatever else you want with this.
Amazing. And what else is next for you guys? Obviously it's Alpha League, so maybe we could wrap up with a bit of an insight into what's coming next for you guys.
Delia.
So this quarter, the Q1 is all going to be focused on crypto active strategies. So we launched the spot strategies, which are based on the long only. So we are not kind of using perpetuals, but within the next 3 weeks, we are going to launch the perpetual strategies, which means that we can go long and short. And especially in this market, we've been testing those strategies with the institutional investor in his own rails, and he's been performing amazingly well. So for Bitcoin, for standalone kind of token, if we go on the perpetuals and really trade on a daily basis based on the market conditions, the performance it's really amazing. I mean, three digits type of performance. So that will be at the end of February. So we are going to launch a suite of perpetual strategies. And then the most exciting will be in March. We are going to launch our own prediction market strategies. So excited about this whole roadmap. So this is just for the next two months. After that, we can actually have another session, and we can actually tell you more about kind of what's coming on the roadmap.
No, amazing. Well, look, guys, thank you very, very much for giving everybody an insight as to what we're doing here. I'm just going to have a quick look at the questions actually and see if there's any specifically in relation to Optima. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so we have a question here from Silver Surfer. What kind of fees do Optima charge, and can you provide a brief explanation of the fee structure?
Do you want me to take it?
So it depends on the strategy. So the fees are very transparent. So we are not charging any performance fees. So most of the hedge funds, what they do, they charge management fees and also performance fees based on the performance of the investments. So that kind of doesn't give you a lot of transparency because you don't know exactly how much you're going to end up paying. So for all the Optima strategies, we are charging a fixed management fee. That management fee changes based on the type of the investment that you selected. If the investment is very simple, the management fee is very small, kind of less than 1% or 1%. If the strategy gets more complicated and we have to use a lot of kind of trading venues and a lot of signals to predict, the management fee is going to be a little bit higher. So everything is disclosed when you make investments, but it's all transparent as far as kind of exactly how much you're going to pay when you make the investments. It's no performance, no hidden fees associated with this.
All the charts that you've seen a moment ago, those are net. So this is what you get, and what you see on the page is what you get. So if there is a transaction fee, you're going to see it. We're going to display it very prominently. There are no surprises. There is no hidden fees.
Amazing. I think that was the main question in relation to Optima. But obviously, if anybody else does have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Optima team. And of course, take a look at the posts that we've been sharing in relation to their updates. Delia and Michael, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
No worries at all. And we'll definitely have you on again. So I'll let you guys go, and then I'll just quickly tackle the remaining questions. Okay, guys, so we have a few questions. Let's have a little look. Okay, so Galileo. What do we have? After the release of the Near Intents widget, what is the next priority for development? Yes, I mean, look, the widget literally only went live on Monday. We've already got a number of enhancements and use cases that have come up that we're exploring and building on. So the widget is absolutely going to be a core focus for us. And of course, you know, we're further exploring some of the other ideas that I can't share at this stage that we're going to be pushing forwards as well. Let's see any other questions. So Leoton, given the recent market downturn, does Aurora have any plans to introduce support mechanisms such as incentives, token buybacks, or other measures to strengthen long-term Aurora holder confidence? Yeah, great question. So I think, you know, every ecosystem, certainly, you know, altcoins are all looking at the market right now and the slump. I mean, look, it's not exactly, I would say, hugely unexpected, right? We've seen these swings occur multiple times before, around about the similar time. I think there's definitely more kind of geopolitical factors that are helping drive some of this at the moment. But yes, we're absolutely looking internally at the moment for what we can do to support projects within our ecosystem. Aurora itself is very well prepared and very well structured for any market downturn. You know, we are not reliant, you know, on our token performance to operate as a business. You know, we're an infrastructure company that has products, and the Near widget is just another example of this. Yeah, and absolutely, of course, we're going to be looking at how we can support all of the projects within our ecosystem. I mean, obviously, you just spoke with Optima. There's other projects within the ecosystem that we're actively working with as well to make sure, you know, that they're as prepared as possible. Okay, we have another question here. Do these bots need human verification, or will they work on their own? They will work on their own. Let's have a look. Craig, are we getting a Calyx sale announcement before NearCon? Okay, so ultimately, we don't really get to decide when projects are going to launch. And what's recently been going on in the market, I think most people would see, is definitely making most projects that haven't launched yet kind of stop and think, right? So I would love to be able to announce another Calyx sale before NearCon, but ultimately projects are prioritizing the their likelihood of success, and that's what they're focusing on. We don't push and force projects to launch. So my answer to this question directly would be, I hope so. But ultimately, we work very closely with the projects that we're launching to make sure, you know, that they have everything ready and that they're good to go. Saeed, bear markets test fundamentals. How prepared is Aurora for this phase? Yeah, so I touched upon this earlier. So we're in a good spot. You know, we've spent the last 2 years building really solid products. We've got virtual chains, we've got Calyx, we've now got the Near Intents widget. You know, we are not just reliant on our token for sustainability. So we're in a good spot and we're pretty prepared for this phase. Okay, so let's have a look. Are more tokens on the already existing chains going to be listed on Near Intents? So Near Intents are adding new tokens all the time, you know, and there are already virtual chains that are supported on Near Intents. But that's a conversation between those chains, you know, and the Near Intents team. So those chains are obviously totally independent projects. We just saw with Optima, you know, the work that they're doing with their virtual chain, and any virtual chain that wants to be listed on Near Intents, or indeed any Calyx project that's going to be listed on Near Intents, does so with the Near Intents team. Let's have a look. So, will there be any other Near Intents tools being developed by Aurora to expect soon? Watch this space is all I'll say on this one. I'm not going to jump the gun, but yeah, we'll watch this space. Near Intents is a huge focus point for the entire ecosystem. The success, you know, has been huge. They've seen huge volumes, and they've got a fantastic team over there. And there's a lot of projects that are already building on Near Intents. You know, we already did it with Calyx, right? The Near Intents widget was the natural evolution of this. So yeah, watch this space is the answer I'd give to that. Okay, Immortal Gene, what do you have to say about Vitalik's statement on layer 2? Yeah, so I know this has been talked about quite a bit. So I guess there's two answers to this question. The first one is in relation to Aurora, right? So Aurora isn't competing, right, on scaling Ethereum. That's not what we do. So we're an EVM equivalent execution there, right? But we've been optimizing for cross-chain, low latency kind of consumer-based applications, right? So we plug directly into future Ethereum native setups, right? We don't just offer EVM, we actually go beyond kind of the pure constraints. And actually in the post, what Vitalik's talking about is that L2s that are just L2s for the sake of scalability are going to struggle because L1s are becoming more efficient. But from us, we don't just scale Ethereum, right? In fact, actually, we leverage Near and Near's architecture for our low latency, cheap execution, right? So from an Aurora's perspective, we're kind of already doing and have been for quite some time, what Vitalik has been talking about there. But from a wider market point of view, I would actually agree with the sentiment, because you only have to look at the conversations that I've been having on these alpha leaks and people that have been having at events, right? What people are talking about now is not how fast can you process transactions. It's not what scale do you have, because blockchain technology, especially if we use Near as an example, it's already there. It's already been there, right? The Near infrastructure, thanks to that kind of horizontal scaling, can already cover the transaction volume seen by the likes of Visa and MasterCard. So it's not a question of that. Now what we're seeing is more about how can you make things more simple? How can we automate and abstract the complexity? And that's why, projects like Near Intents have been so successful, because they remove all of that complexity. They remove the issues with bridging. There's no problems around infrastructure scalability. It's more about how easy is it to use? And of course, is it private? Is it confidential? Am I able to operate confidentially? And they're really the kind of two prevailing narratives, and that's more important than ever, I guess, on the AI side as well, with what the Near team are doing there. So yeah, I would say in principle I agree, but from Aurora's point of view, we've been doing that for 2 years anyway. So for us, it doesn't really change anything. Okay, I'm conscious we're way over time, so I'm just going to get a couple more. Oh, we've got the Near protocol here. Things are getting intense. Hello, thanks for joining. Okay, what else have we got? I'll take one more question. What do I have to say about the new widget on Near Intents? Well, I've said quite a lot already. But what I will say is it's never been easier for a project to be able to allow their users to leverage pretty much any token on any network to actively participate in the platform, right? The widget has been designed along, the same way we've designed all of our products. No code, simplicity at mind, and abstracting the complexity. And we're already seeing it. We've got over half a dozen projects that have already integrated it. We've got several dozen others that are actively doing it now. And it's only been live 5 days. So yeah, I think the widget's going to make life a lot easier for a lot of projects. And I think it's only going to contribute to the fantastic growth that we've already seen from Near Intents overall. So that's a wrap, guys. I wish all of you a great weekend. Rest up, and I look forward to speaking to you all next week on Alpha Leaks on Friday. Take care.